It was another sweltering summer night on the island of Manhattan. Though the sun had gone down hours earlier, the residual heat it left behind still radiated from the pavement in shimmering waves. The forecast had not called for any relief from the record temperatures in the immediate future, but the residents of Greenwich Village had come to expect the unexpected thanks to one of their more colourful neighbours. So when a powerful blast of icy air swept down Bleecker Street, it barely drew any attention, at least from those outside. Within the confines of the building marked 177A, however, someone had most certainly taken notice of the sudden chill. "We have a visitor," said Dr. Stephen Strange, barely looking up from the ancient tomb in front of him. The Sorcerer Supreme was sitting cross-legged, floating a few feet up in the air as he studied the arcane rituals within the sacred text. He paused for a moment before speaking again. This time was a slightly more commanding tone. "Wong, do get the door, please. We mustn't keep our guest waiting." "Wong's out on a supply run," a gruff voice replied from below. "I guess we run out of eye newt or something." "How come you never told me we were expecting company, Doc?" "Because we weren't," Strange replied as he looked down at Bats, the ghostly basset hound that had recently become one of his most faithful companions. Strange unfolded his legs and gently landed on the floor of his study. "But invited or not, this is one visitor that it would be best not to turn away without at least hearing what he has to say. After all, he has travelled quite far to get here, haven't you, Victor?" "I have indeed, Stephen," replied the unexpected guest in an authoritative voice. There, in the hallway, just outside of Doctor Strange's inner sanctum, stood the metal-clad monarch of Latveria, the villainous Doctor Doom. "How the heck did he get in here?" Bat said with a low growl, the green glow from his spectral form intensifying. "This place is supposed to be intruder-proof." "It seems the good doctor's Sanctum Sanctorum is desperately in need of some more powerful protection spells," Doom replied snidely, "and perhaps a better watchdog as well." "I suppose I could change a few mystic locks," Strange said with a smirk, "though I scarcely have to worry about anyone getting past the front door. After all, there aren't many other mortals as adept at sorcery as you." "You flatter me, Stephen," Doom replied. "Do go on." "It's true," Strange continued. "I may be this dimension's Sorcerer Supreme, but when it comes to the mastery of the dark arts, you may very well be my equal. Which makes the fact that you've come here even more concerning. If you need my help, then something must be very wrong." "Everything is wrong, Stephen," Doom said, "and it has been for far too long. But I believe I've discovered a way to fix it, to bend time itself to my whims." "Time is not something to be tampered with," Strange replied. "The cost is far too high, you know that." "But what if the reward were even greater?" Doom continued. "I'm on the verge of something magnificent, Stephen, and you hold the key to my success." "What's this chrome-plated crackpot yapping about?" Bat asked, clearly growing more impatient with every second. "Victor has long sought to undo some critical mistakes that led him down his path," Strange said. "Doom does not make mistakes," the visitor replied sternly. "However, there have been certain steps along my journey that, if retread, could lead to possibilities that currently lie beyond my grasp. Tell me, Stephen, have you not ever wished to rewind the clock?" Strange paused, looking down at his mangled hands, wondering how his life may have unfolded had he not been in the accident that forced him to go from renowned surgeon to reclusive sorcerer. But as the Ancient One had taught him, fate was not in the hands of any mortal, even those with unparalleled mystic might. "I have become who I am supposed to be, Victor," Strange said. "My journey would have ended in the same place no matter the road taken." "I wish to prove otherwise," Doom replied. "And, to do so, all I require is a single spell." "The fact that you do not already have access to the spell you seek speaks volumes," Strange said, raising a curious eyebrow. "There are a few arcane rites unknown to a sorcerer of your esteem, perhaps just the forbidden spells inscribed on the pages of—" "The Darkhold," Doom said. Stephen Strange shuddered at the name. The Darkhold was a cursed collection of insidious incantations, said to be authored by an elder god of chaos known as Chthon. This so-called Book of Sins had a corrupting effect on those who dared to tap into its mystic malevolence. Strange had recovered the illicit text from the dark dimension long ago after a battle against his rival, Baron Mordo, and had stored it within the Sanctum Sanctorum for safekeeping ever since. I'm afraid that volume is off limits, old friend, Strange said resolutely. Which of those chthonic curses could possibly aid you in your endeavours anyway? The vampiric verses, Doom whispered, almost as if speaking the spell's name out loud was enough to unleash its terror upon the world. Hold on, Bats interrupted. You want to turn yourself into a vampire? Ain't you already spooky enough, fella? I wish no such thing, Doom said, his patience beginning to crumble away. But Dracula and his immortal legion used the same rite centuries ago to cheat time. Perhaps with the proper amount of scrutiny, I can do the same and unlock the secrets of time's true nature. An interesting approach, Strange said, but one far too risky for me to allow. I'm sorry, Victor, but the answer is no. I was afraid you would say that, old friend, Doom responded, but I will have to seek, even if I must take it from you by force. Without a moment's notice, Doom conjured up the Veil of Khonshu, sending a massive wave of darkness cascading towards Strange. Claws of Bast, Strange commanded, slashing through the oncoming wall of ebony energy with brightly glowing purple claws that were forged from spirit energy drawn directly from the Wakandan ancestral plane, Jalea. Impressive, Stephen, Doom replied, circling his arms in a frenzied motion. But can you weather the mists of Fimbulwinter? A freezing gust of wind rushed through the magical circle Doom had conjured, but Stephen Strange was not willing to back down, even as the bitter frost stiffened his cape. I've spent winters in Camouflage, Strange mused. This is nothing. Doom watched in surprise as Doctor Strange fought through the icy gust to cast his next incantation. Even more shockingly, each of the Sorcerer Supreme's hands seemed to be conjuring their own spells entirely independent of each other. One blazed a bright red while the other glistened gold. As Strange brought his hands together, he released an enchantment that even he had never summoned before, born from the combined energy of both the Crimson Cosmo and Asgard. Crimson Thorn of Yggdrasil! Long spiked vines erupted forth from Strange's hands, glowing a deep scarlet as they whipped towards their intended target. Before Doom could even think to utter a defensive spell, he found himself completely ensnared by the thorny limbs, unable to move. You seem to have forgotten that I'm far more powerful when within my own home, Strange said. For a guy who doesn't make mistakes, Doom, Bats added. That was a pretty big one. Perhaps I was too rash in my actions, Doom responded. Release me from these shackles, Stephen, and I assure you I will depart your home in peace. You ain't really going to trust this guy, are you, Doc? Bats asked with deep concern. I am, Strange replied, lowering his hands and releasing the spell's grip on Doom. Victor and I may have different goals and opinions when it comes to sorcery, but he has always been a man of his word. Indeed, Doom said as he began to walk from Strange's inner sanctum. And you also have my word, Stephen, that I will find a way to finally break the bonds of time, with your help or without. And you have my word, Strange warned, that, should you overstep your station, the Sorcerer Supreme will do whatever it takes to stop you. Now get out of here before we find out just how bite-proof that tacky armour of yours is, Bats yelled. No one speaks to Doom like that, mutt, Doom snarled back. You should consider yourself lucky that you are already deceased. Guess there's a first time for everything, Bats responded wearily. Before I go, Stephen, Doom said, looking back over his shoulder at Strange. A warning. I have foreseen a great evil come into this city you call home. You may be safe within your house of truth for now, but those outside its walls will soon be drowning in darkness. What the hell is that supposed to mean? Bats barked towards a darkened doorway as Doom faded into the shadows. Easy, boy. He's already gone, Strange replied. But I have an uneasy feeling that we'll find out what Victor was talking about soon enough. So, if you will excuse me. With a simple gesture of one hand, Doctor Strange opened a sparkling portal to a hidden corner of the astral plane. One so remote that even he barely knew where it was located. With a wave of his other hand, the Darkhold flew off his bookshelf and into the rift. The extra-dimensional gateway quickly closed as soon as the ancient tomb passed safely through, as if it was neither the portal nor the book had ever existed in the first place. For safekeeping, Strange said, almost as if reassuring himself. Doom will never find the Darkhold here. I just hope he's the only one looking for it, said Bats. You and I both, friend, Strange mused, turning his attention back to the far less dangerous spell book that he had been studying when his unexpected guest first arrived. As Bat curled up on the floor of Dr. Strange's study, the chill finally faded from Bleecker Street. Soon enough, the sun would rise again, and its heat would saturate the city. If only the residents of Manhattan had known how few days of light and warmth they had left. A few months later, Stephen Strange sat in front of the large circular window on the upper level of his Sanctum Sanctorum, sipping on a cup of herbal tea. It had been some time since Victor Von Doom had paid him a visit, but the confrontation, while brief, had not left his thoughts. He often found himself wondering if Doom would really succeed in his quest to conquer time itself, and this day, Strange would finally have his answer. Even before the blinding flash of light filled the sky, Strange could feel the massive disturbance rippling across the fabric of time and space itself. He didn't know where it had originated, but he had a single educated guess: Latveria. "What have you done, Victor?" Strange wondered aloud, as the disturbance spiraled wildly across the material plane. It pierced through dimensions, including the astral plane, and surged towards the Sanctum Sanctorum. Strange had only a fraction of a second to react to the oncoming wave of chronal chaos, but he knew that this next move could very well determine not only his fate, but the fate of countless universes as well. Both as a surgeon and a sorcerer, Dr. Stephen Strange had faced countless life and death choices before, but never one quite as important as this.